Hey, good evening, welcome back to the weekly report of the student StarCraft AI tournament. We have had a wild flurry of updates and almost all of them are in the top 5, so without further ado, let me show you the top 5. SAIDA is on top and has taken quite a leap over Locutus and Crazio, who are virtually in the same spot, but Locutus with just 3 points a little bit higher, and then it's the rest of the pack, so Crazio clearing more than 100 points before Purple Wave, and Purple Wave really leads the rest of the pack. And Kilobot's still hanging there with the Muta Micro, also posted an update, so let's see what that's about. But for everyone who doesn't know SAIDA yet, from the Samsung team, it is a veritable monster. And first game of today will start with the number 3 right now, that's Crazio. And of course Locutus has posted an update as well, so that will be very interesting to watch. Now Kilobot is going to play Zerg over here with 2 hatcheries, that's pretty ballsy. And Crazio with the scouting SCV is getting some intel, meanwhile being perfectly safe with a bunker and 2 marines, so should be okay. And this one Zergling won't get anything done, and the other one is playing tag with the scouting SCV over here. 1 sunken to wrap it up, and that's the lair prepping. So Kilobot has been playing exclusively Muta, and of course it can do other things. Perhaps it will also implement all the other build orders once the tournament finals start. But for now it's only playing Muta, and here is the Spire. You can see has got a lot of gas and is now producing a large fat round of Mutas. Crazio posting a couple of depots, and a patrolling marine over here, just to make sure that nothing untoward is going to happen over there. The Mutas are there already, and they are slowly inching their way into the natural. Crazio being prepared with a lot of marines and a turret. Turret is being engaged, and Kilobot taking a lot of damage. Could have waited a little bit longer to get some more Mutas into the cloud. But still, as it is, it's pretty deadly. And if you look at the upgrades, Terran has the range and +1 is starting, which will be a great benefit in fighting off these Mutas. But for the time being, Kilobot has got the map control and is taking advantage of that by placing a 3rd base mineral only, immediately fortifying it with what will probably be a sunken. So the Mutas are rather fixated on reaching the natural, and I don't know why they're doing that. They can't really make up their mind if they're going to kill the turret or the SCVs and take a lot of damage in the process, so that's not really good at all. And Crazio of course has got the stim, you can hear it, but I thought, well, let's show how it's going to be. Ooh, and it appears like, oh dear, these Mutas are taking so much damage, but the work account for Crazio, lots of workers are off duty and are being transferred to somewhere else, are not really mining. Mute account for Kilobot is pretty low. So Kilobot getting some map control, but isn't really hurting Crazio all that much. Crazio's got a nice army supply and has also got lots of technology and cool stuff and a well defended base, so this kind of actions you really need to take out the turret or the marines, or just kill the SCVs and cycle out the wounded Mutas. And as long as that is not happening, Kilobot is taking a lot of damage. Oh, and that was a nice one, just outside of the range of the other marines, clipped the one standing in front, and now finding the siege tank. So that's pretty well found, nice kill, and the marine, and another one, and just staying right outside of harm's way. So the Muta pathfinding is pretty good, but they can be a little bit suicidal. Now going after the turret, they won't kill it. And then you've got to really persevere and try to kill what you're after. Otherwise you're just going to take a lot of damage and not get anything in return. So now here as well, going after the Goliath, just one volley and another one. So that's a Goliath killed, and Crazio can't really get too much army going. And now with the science vessel, ooh, and here go the Mutas, they go right round the back. And taking a lot of damage from the Stint Marines with the medics. And Crazio, although he hasn't got the largest army, has got quite a potent army with well-upgraded Marines. Armor upgrade coming as well. Ooh, Goliath should be really careful not to fall prey to the ground army of Crazio's. And that was a beautiful hit. So this bunker isn't all that full, looks like. And oh dear, +1 air attack will be done soon. But the mutas are taking such a lot of damage. Now with the Wraith, has Crazio got Cloak? No, he hasn't. So this Wraith had really better be careful. Killabot going for a third base. And ooh, this Wraith is in for a pounding. Killabot now going after this turret once again. But doesn't really commit, and that is a lot of damage incurred for almost nothing in return. The Wraith though has been killed, and now the so much damage taken, but it's so hard. Immediately the irradiated muta is getting sorted out of the pack, but the muta count is so very low, only 6 left. And right now it looks like Killabot is going into some kind of a ground army switch. And the mutas take way too much damage again. They are stuck on the, oh god, on the edge of the map. That's unfortunate, but they get unstuck. And this small cloud of about 5 mutas is still there. And now the ground army of Crazio is really starting to take shape. Supply-wise, it is double that of Killabots, and Killabot should protect this, but can't do it with Lings, obviously. This Vulture will kill them immediately. And now more Lings are being sent. So Killabot still hasn't really got a follow-up. The mutas are dropping from the sky. Ooh, that was a nice kill on the science vessel. Will Killabot make more mutas? Yes, it will. Not all that much. And these marines, while Crazy is moving out, are vulnerable. Are very vulnerable. And as long as Killabot is finding the right angles to attack, you can see how fast these marines are dying. And the other muta just can't find a good path to group up with the rest of them, and now the muta cloud is growing again. And Crazy is trying to take a third, but these mutas are going right in the heart of danger and killing themselves. Oh, and that's nice, delaying the construction of the third of Crazio's. And the muta count is now pretty good. These mutas are really something. Although they take a lot of damage, their damage output is quite decent as well. And Crazio now facing some Lings as well, not all that many. 4th base for Killabot is up, and 5th base taken. And Crazio still on 2 bases, but the 3rd will be up and running and fortified in a short while as well. The mutas though, I think their time is past, because they try picking battles which they cannot possibly win. Their count is way too low, there are only 6. And by now Crazio's got 60 army supply of mainly anti-air units, and that augmented by a handful of science vessels and some turrets. So Killabot really ought to think about a follow-up to its muta play, or just go way more harassy with the muta play and keep tabs on things like this expansion. You could hit that pretty hard with the mutas, but the mutas instead are trying to force their way into this area over here, which is crawling with marines, turrets, and well, no Goliaths anymore, but there are 3 science vessels, so should be okay. And oh, the muta, if ever they find a spot which is not defended by marines or turrets, they do such a lot of damage. But the 4th base for Crazio is prepping, and the mutas would be wiser to try and kill that than to kill 20 marines over here. That's just, I feel, not worth it, and they should just be going after things like this, because if you stop a Terran's 4th, you are in a much better position, and marines you can always kill later. But the mutas, where are the mutas? The mutas are still over here, still grinding away, and their count has dropped precipitously. More mutas coming up, but for the time being Crazio can just re-establish its position, and the worker transfer going always. That's really weird, but for the time being Killabot's mining is not up to snuff, and the muta weapon has fallen completely from the sky. Killabot has got a puny army of only 20 supply, and Crazio has got the angriest, ugliest, well-upgradedest Terran anti-air army you can possibly imagine. 3 marines with medics, with science vessels, and this handful of mutas, it's annoying, but it's not really getting anything done anymore, and every time it gets... oh, it can't find a safe spot anymore, so it's probably going to die here in the middle. And Crazio pouncing on it and killing all the mutas, and they just can't find a path anymore. But there is a new cloud, and it's hitting the 3rd. And the tank, that's good. And now you are going to have to fight hard. And Muta Cloud, the numbers are greater again. So with 10 mutas you can do quite a lot. This Goliath pops just in the wrong direction, or in the right one for the Zerg. But the 4th of Crazio is up. And that is something which Kilobot should have prevented. And again, these mutas are getting into this position where they really don't want to be, because they are surrounded, and Crazio's Science Vessel Cloud is growing as well. So these mutas are now in a very precarious position, and although Kilobot is producing a lot of Zerglings versus these well-upgraded Marines, it's not really working. And even though Crazio's scattering tactics are very inefficient, the Zerglings just can't get anything done at this moment anymore. So the muta harass still continues, but army-wise Kilobot is not going anywhere, and the irradiates are going off left, right and center. The Science Vessel Cloud is getting bigger and bigger, and although Kilobot has got a great economy, it's just building all these units which are not really making a dent in Crazio's armor anymore. So Crazio, with 100 army supply, starts crossing the map. And Kilobot, what can it do? The Zerglings evaporate. The mutas, they take a lot of time, and also are getting very much damage. Ooh, Crazio, that is... oh, so many irradiates. That's just not good for the Muta Cloud. And meanwhile, 4 turrets with adequate repair. That's just way too much. And Crazio taking the middle of the map. Kilobot can't do anything about it. This Muta Zergling thing is not going to stop it at all. And soon there will be tanks at the bridges, at Crazio's infrastructure, and Crazio will start killing bases. But now all the anti-air of this expeditionary force has been taken care of, and the mutas now can do quite a bit of damage, and their numbers are growing. We've got 17 now, but they can't decide on what to kill. Now 2 science vessels in peril, that's always good. Kill science vessels, they can do such a lot of damage, and the other one very badly damaged. Ooh, and Crazio has just got a little bit of trouble finding safe spots for its science vessels. And this Muta Cloud is really going to do damage. Oh, one-shotting medics. The science vessels are getting damaged. But the tanks are here, and the mutas, they can't really bother too much with attacking the enemy. They've got to help and defend, and that's what they do. Some Zerglings come up to help, and Crazio's army is suffering a little bit. And where Kilobot's army was 30 a little bit earlier, it's now 50, and Crazio is getting some more kills. And this Goliath is pretty brave, but look at the shadow underneath. Oh, these science vessels, they really must be killed now. Crazio is being so careless with them. It's a good thing for Crazio that the mutas are more interested in stray marines and medics and things like that. Oh, Crazio is so very careless with its science vessels. It's unbelievable. This push is pretty strong, but the mutas are over there and doing a lot of damage. I think the upgrades for the mutas are not as good. They haven't got any armor upgrades, but still, they should stop the cute micro and just kill all the marines and then kill all the rest. Lots of Sunkens over here delaying the Terran's push. But Terran's war machine is rolling. Crazio has got way too many bases, and these small harassy pokes are not doing anything in the way to stop them. And you should just whip around 50 Zerglings and be done with it, but these small Zergling parties are just too few in number to do much damage. Now, the Muta Cloud is decent once more. It's about 10 or 12, but the Terran units are so well upgraded, and these mutas, they aren't really as lethal as they are not lethal enough, and they have all kinds of different priorities. And if you've got a tank nearly down, you ought to kill it. Same goes for the science vessel. That's a good prize to kill this science vessel, but instead these mutas, they go after it, and oh yeah, now they kill it. That's good. But Crazio is taking more and more of the map, and this base, although it's under attack by a handful of Zerglings, it's just not working at the moment. The Zerglings are all messed up and doing silly things. Meanwhile though, the Muta Cloud is growing again. It's 16, and as long as Kilobot isn't fighting any full-scale engagements with these mutas, it's winning. And now the turrets are under attack. Here they go, and that's just way too many mutas, and the army of Crazio is all here and there, and the Zerglings are over here killing the siege tank. Now this bunker, I don't think with the mine! Oh, the mine, and the bunker dies as well. That was, oh, there was only one marine in it, so that's the reason why these Zerglings were so successful. And again, a science vessel which is getting very, very nearly beaten up, and oh, that's so lucky. These mutas really ought to commit more and just kill it. Yes, there we go. So again, an incursion of Crazio over here. The muta cloud is now pretty big. It's 23, which means that anything short of a full stack battalion of marines with medics and stim, or a large pack of Goliaths, really ought not to want to have a do with it. 25, 26, the dropship drops straight out of the air, and the mutas should be occupied, because this you cannot let it go on for too long. And here come the mutas, and you can see how much damage they do. And yes, there we go, so much damage. They're also taking a lot of damage, and at this point they just ought to attack and kill all the marines. And you can see that Kilobot is targeting single marines and not doing the patrol or the hold micro to get more of a volley off, and that will also have consequences of doing massive amounts of overkill damage. With nearly 30 mutas in this cloud, you are doing about 300 damage to a single unit instead of spreading it out a little bit better. But here come the mutas again, and Crazio's army is falling despite having so many bases. Kilobot's army is now actually greater than Crazio's, and this muta cloud, supported by the Zerglings, is rolling forward, and the mine! Killing a medic. That's not the worst. And now these mutas just ought to back off or fully commit. Or perhaps it would be good to cycle out the badly wounded mutas, but this muta cloud is now so strong. It's 30 mutas, and Crazio's army is just not all there anymore. The Zerglings are all over it, and although they aren't all that impressive or well upgraded, they are fully upgraded. Crazio, without anything in this bunker, is just very, very, very unfortunate at this point, losing bases. And where are the mutas? The mutas have now broken the mineral only, doing nearly one-shotting that bunker. Did you see that? Killing the thingies first, the SCVs, but now they're killing everything inside in one shot. Taking a lot of damage, but their count is now high enough. Lots of irradiates going on, and this is not something they should do, but just going in for the fun of it. 19, 18 mutas left. It's a bit of a countdown, but the mutas are so angry, and Crazio has got a puny army. It can't be everywhere at once anymore. A large portion of its army is over here, and now the Zerglings have cleaned up this base and depopulated that one. So Crazio is only mining off this one base here, and that's just not enough, especially not if the enemy has got the entire map. And look at these Zerglings go. As soon as this Vulture, which is doing a murderous job on all these Zerglings, as soon as this Vulture is dead, all these Zerglings, and here goes another train, these Zerglings will descend upon the mining bases of Crazio. This base been taken down. Where are the mutas? The mutas are in the main base actually, so doing their damage there. Crazio has got half the army supply of Kilobots and hasn't got income. So the SCVs, the Zerglings, have now found this base over here. They're pouring into it. Mining has come to a standstill. There is one bunker, and the bunker is doing great work, especially with some SCVs blocking, but now it's under attack, and the Zerglings, they just kill the SCVs first, and only then, there are so many Zerglings. The mutas are in the main base. Crazio is out of money, out of gas, and is falling to the mutas. The muta cloud is pretty small, and that's the GG. Kilobot, with sheer tenacity of force, has taken the game. So congratulations, Kilobot. Now the number one, it's SAIDA, and SAIDA, of course, the Samsung Terran, is in a very good shape. It's unbelievable from all at once it turned up and started taking names. Everyone has been defeated already, and it's now number one on the list with a large margin to spare. And Crazio isn't even participating in the AIIDE tournament, so that will be something to take into account, and I really hope that Crazy will not drop out of the Student StarCraft AI tournament this year, because we really need him in here, especially to fight off these larger bots like SAIDA and BeReaver. BeReaver, it's been a while since it posted an update, but this game got recommended, so I think, well, why not? And SAIDA starting out with a pair of SCVs, just starting out with the bunker. And there you go, nice bit of defense going on. I think that this, they must have range, yes, ranged goon thing is not really going to work, and BeReaver realizes it and heads back to base. Now 2 tanks for SAIDA, and SAIDA with this tank play, it will take a while for it to be able to get out of the base, but it can defend anything. And although this taking of pot shots at the eBay is annoying, it's not really getting anything done. BeReaver taking the opportunity to take a 3rd base, and should take a 4th as well, because this tank thing is never going to get out in force anytime soon. BeReaver's got the better army, and as long as there aren't 10 tanks with supporting units, SAIDA can't do really much to take map control. Now BeReaver is heading in with some goons, has got zealot speed as well, and is hardly taking any losses, just doing a couple of 100 points of damage to the barracks and the eBay, but other than that it doesn't really do much. And now the army of BeReavers is sort of stuck, and over here as well, so with only 1 tank defending and the other tanks on the high ground for more support. Ooh, will the eBay die? And BeReaver might lose the first goon. Yes, loses the first goon. Oh, and there are some zealots as well coming in from the rear. SAIDA is on the high ground, and it's unbelievably silly with all these units here mulling about and not doing anything. The natural is under attack, and BeReaver has got 3 bases, so you can't let this go on for too long. And although you are killing zealots from the high ground, your mining is coming to a standstill. You've only got 27, 26 workers. And these units on the high ground finally siege up, but BeReaver ought to be killing the command center. If the command center were down, that would be a major victory, and this is just going to result in a lot of lost goons without anything to show for it. Some workers killed. Worker count for SAIDA down to 15 and 67 for BeReaver. So BeReaver doing very well there. The shuttle is occupying some units, and SAIDA isn't really equipped with all that much anti-air. There is another shuttle coming in, but this army of SAIDAs is... Oh, that was so close! And another mine going off, but that's about the end of the shuttle harass for now. 1 shuttle heading back home. But SAIDA is being kept on the back foot, is now venturing out with an army which is not as large as that of BeReaver, and BeReaver has to pick up some vultures and some rearguard action, but the entire army appears to be on 1 control group, so BeReaver is losing a lot of forces, and I don't know where that shuttle is going. And it's going right to this base. This battle over here will take a while. Is there storm yet? Yes, there is. The Reaver is doing what it can. Oh, and nice zealot bombs. That's pretty good. Oh, and the natural still isn't mining. So SAIDA on 24 army supply is in a very precarious position, especially with the 4th base started for BeReaver. BeReaver is swinging. It's absolutely mowing down the terrain, and SAIDA just can't get... Oh, that's a Reaver drop. Oh, killing 3 vultures at a single stroke. Doing so much damage, and from close range these vultures, they just can't run fast enough. And SAIDA's worker count is about 9. It's in complete shambles. It's not rebuilding workers as it should. It's giving priority to combat units, and that's good, but with only 9 workers or 8 workers, wow, another worker has been killed. That's going to be quite problematic, and more workers are about to be killed as the Reaver drop. Oh, the Reaver now dies, but the Reaver drop surely paid for itself, and now there is an army with a carrier and Storm as well in form of these Templars. We've got 2 full Templars. The natural is completely overrun. The Protoss army is taking a leap in supply, and now it is 6 versus 90 army supply. BeReaver is tearing down SAIDA's base like a champion. Could take a couple of observers, but it's just the raw stumping power which is doing the damage at this point. And that's the GG. BeReaver takes a game of SAIDA. Very well done. Next game up, it's Asberth, and Asberth is going to play Alien, and Alien, although it hasn't posted an update in quite a while, it's still a very capable Zerg, and I thought, well, let's see the new Asberth update in a game against it. So, Alien going for the, I think that's something of a 10 hatch, 10 pool kind of thing, very standard, going for a large round of Zerglings, and the Zerglings are just going to wait until the SUV passes by again. That's pretty clever, it's a lot cleverer than just chasing it all the time. And Asberth has got a nice bunker on the high ground, that's very hard to take, and it's also not blocking the path here. So if you were to build an eBay or a barracks over here, you'd have a very hard approach for any Zerg unit, and Alien is going for a lot of Zerglings. Hello. Nice contain going over there. Some fire bats for Asberth, and Asberth is going for a full bio play. That's good. Now the question is, what's Alien going to do? Alien appears not to be building too much, has got a lot of money in the bank, is building, oh yes, going to take a third base. Meanwhile, this Zergling army, it's pretty small, and you've sort of got to keep up with the Terran, because the Terran has got this fully upgraded, by now, must be, yeah, starting stimmed army with medics and firebats. And if there are firebats and stim, you need a lot of turrets, and perhaps you are going to need lurkers as well. Lurkers would be a good stop until there were science vessels and siege tanks, but now the bio army is heading back home. Oh, and the Zerglings popped in, did a sort of run by, killing all the workers, and should head back out, because now the entire might of the army of Asberth is coming back, doing a lot of damage. Third base up, very well done by Alien. Alien's got the 3 bases versus the 2. Worker count for Terran pretty low, but Terran as opposed to SAIDA is building more workers. And now you've got defend with only 3 Sunkens and no lurkers. That's pretty wild. Hopefully there will be lurkers soon, because this bio thing is going to spin right out of control, and of 2 bases with 4-5 barracks as a Terran you can really produce a lot of fighting power in a relatively short time. And Zerg shouldn't run in and out all the time. Ooh, nice pickup on the retreat, and Asberth has got everything in one control group, so is losing some forces himself as well. So while this standoff is going on, a small Zergling force is whipping around the back, trying to intercept some reinforcements, and these reinforcements haven't got medics, so they are pretty vulnerable, but the Zerglings don't really dare and attack them if there are more than 3. Taking 1 down, here comes a firebat. Will they kill the turret? No, they won't, but taking 1 SCV off mining, and the worker count of Asberth is okay. Now, Alien, what are you going to do? Third base is up and running, but this bio group is just unstoppable, and you're really going to need lurkers or something like that. And you can't just sit back on lair tech and build Hydras and Zerglings, and that's just way too many firebats for these Zerglings to want to tangle with. Worker count for Asberth has stabilized, and Alien's worker count is okay, but a lot of these workers are over here and there, and really ought to take more bases. Ooh, sandwiching the Terran army. The Terran army is in full retreat, isn't actually fighting, and is only using the stim to run away. And I don't know why you should run away if you've got stimmed firebats and Zerglings coming up. That's just fun. And Alien is trying to nibble at the medics. The medics try to heal themselves and they die, so the worker count, no, sorry, the army count, and once they turn to fight, it's the meat grinder for this poor Zerg force, and Alien is really rather slow with taking a 4th base, while Asberth has taken a 3rd, and as a Zerg, that's not good. Overlord speed, upgrades coming up, all nice and dandy, but without lurk attack or anything like that. Ooh, and when will the Terran army turn to fight? If it does, there seems to be a line over here where they will just commit to defend, and although these are a lot of Zerglings, if you have a handful of firebats with medics, and I think by now, only the +1, but still with +1, it's a lot of damage for these poor Zerglings. Now, the Zerglings have found this base over here, and while the main army is buggering off to help them defend, some Zerglings make their way up into the natural, but they get cut off, and now you can see how much damage a well-upgraded stim Terran bio army is actually doing. So, yeah, these Zerglings, they will get killed. But nice bit of harass done, and the main is getting low for both players, and still no fourth for Alien, and that's, I think, a mistake, because this Terran army is now more than 2 times the size of the Zerg army, and you can't go... Oh, the Overlord. Oh my god. This is the worst eraser of your own troops. And now the Bioforces just roll up into the base, killing the 3 Sunkens and any Zerg reinforcements which might pick up some Marines here and there. It's all over, and that is going to be it, I think. Because Asbeth has got the 3rd and has dropped a couple of SCVs here as well. I don't know if they can build a command center like this, but the main army's got things well in control. It's now 100 versus 10 army supply, and losing your main like this must hurt. This base is still up and running. There is money in the bank, quite a lot of it actually, so Alien has got some money spending problems, but has now gotten stuck only building workers, and with 3 Marines over here, I'm going to call the GG. The next game up, oh, we already had that. So the Reaver versus SAIDA game got recommended twice. And we had an upgrade of Black Crow as well. So let's see what Black Crow is going to do. Not a 4 pool, which is always good. Going for a 9 pool. Very good. 9 pool, scouting drone. And a LMAO is going for a 2-gate of a lot of workers. So that's pretty good. Black Crow going for a handful of Zerglings and another hatchery. So that appears to be the game plan. Just build Zerglings, and if you've got over money, build another hatchery. Now there are 4 Zealots on the way, which this... Oh dear, I totally missed that. So here come the Zerglings. That's quite a nice push. They have got speed, and they will probably kill with some work these first 4 Zealots, but there are more Zealots at home. Zealots are over here, 4 of them, and the Zerglings, they run straight into the workers. The workers not defending nor running, and the Zealots, they don't give a damn about their own workers, and that's very unfortunate. As now there are 0 workers, there is 50 minerals, so the only thing that Black Crow has to do now is hold off these Zealots. 4 are coming, and the rest is just standing here. No worker being built for a LMAO, and Black Crow is just going to build Zerglings and Zerglings, and it could do with a couple of Zerglings because there are Zealots in its base, and ooh, this one just lives. And now the Zerglings just don't care anymore. This is the last combat group out of a LMAO with 4 Zealots are going to do a lot of damage, but I think with 4 hatches that Black Crow is going to do pretty well. And although it might incur some losses, there is only 2 and 1, and that's the last Zealot, and that's basically the GG because nothing else is happening. LMAO didn't ever restart, and Black Crow has just reached its sweet spot where it can build... Oh, it's building workers once in a while, that's very good. It's building a lot of Zerglings, and these Zerglings do this to the enemy base. So congratulations, Black Crow, we'll be watching you. Another bot which got upgraded was Simplicity, and we know Simplicity from its awesome drops. Couple of, well, about 5, 6, 7, 8 Overlords right in the enemy base. That's pretty wild, and we had some good games versus Ice Labs. Let's see how the recently upgraded Toothpick Cactus is going to play. Simplicity starting with 11 hatch, 12 pool, another in-base hatch in the direction of the choke of the ramp. That's good. And Toothpick with the bunker over here can protect as well the ramp as the SCVs for the largest bit. Now that's quite a nice position really. So going for a lot of Marines, and with these with the Zerg revival headed by Simplicity but also by Killerbot, and that is without the recent upgrades in of Cherry Pies. Lots of Terrans are going bio now, and that can be pretty wild. They can do quite a nasty push with stim, with range, the +1/+1, all very accessible upgrades, and Simplicity has got a bit of a problem on his hands because he's got an army supply of about 2, and the Terran is going to take a 3rd base, so that's a lot of production capacity for the Terran. Now got 3, 4, 5 racks and a factory, and these 3 Sunkens are everything that is standing between this wild marine medic firebat army, and Simplicity can't get anything done. You can see if the firebats are committing to fight, they are doing such a lot of damage, and these 2 Sunkens, they do way too much damage. But here is a siege tank, and I think that once this last Sunken is down, the Marines will just stream in and be done with it. So Toothpick Cactus with a brilliant build, lots of barracks, and now can't even keep his money down with only 6 barracks, so that's pretty well done. Going to build another factory, I think, but the battle has been fought and won, and all kinds of buildings right in the middle of the map. Oh, that's a starport, and that's not a factory, it's a science facility, and Toothpick can't just keep his money down like this, so should be building more barracks just for good measure. And this base of Simplicities is going to fall as well. And I have got Crazio versus TSMU Protoss 2, and I really don't know how many TSMU bots we've got on the server at this moment. It's quite a lot. And there you go. So speeding up the initial stages somewhat, because it's all pretty much the same, just building a couple of depots, defending your base versus the early incursion or the scouting probes. Nice bunker by Crazio, and TSMU is going for ranged goons and a robo bay, all of one base, and oh, here comes the natural, so that's pretty well done. Ranged goons taking up position, nice bit of a contain going, and that's always nice, but with the siege tank out in front, I think that Crazio will soon be ready to contest. Oh, that's pretty clever, killing the power generators with splash damage. That's how it's done. And now Crazio setting up shop with a lot of mines. 3rd base up and running already. TSMU is only starting the 3rd base, and the vultures are so pesky that they can just keep a lot of Protoss units on their toes. So Crazio appears to be in a pretty good spot. Lots of tanks on the ground. Vultures have got map control. TSMU has got the 4th. But 4 versus 3 bases, and even if that 3rd is a mineral only, that's a good position for a Terran. And TSMU ought to be wiser than to attempt to sneak some DTs in, or you should rip them around the back, but all these mines, they're just not good enough. All these DTs aren't good enough to come and deal with the mines. Crazio really wants a 4th, is starting it. And it will soon be 4 versus 4 bases, and that's generally in the favor of Terran. And I am wondering why this game got recommended to me, but we'll soon find out. Perhaps there are some epic mine hits. That might always that's always fancy. And that was not so epic as a mine hit, but it's okay. And TSMU still over fixating on the natural choke, and that we saw that with Killabot, with all the modern bots. They are so fixated on taking the main route through the natural into the main. It's really puzzling to me, because all the defense is over here, and over there there's basically nothing, and a handful of zealots could do a lot of damage, and it's actually doing so. So that said, what's TSMU going to do next? Taking a 5th base, that's good. Taking a bit of control back from Terran, and putting a lot of pressure on this base, but the back route has been opened, so Crazio is reinforcing that and immediately trying to send some tanks, but the tanks are being blocked by the SCVs, so they can't really do too much. And the safety of this base is, well, disputed by a handful of small firework handful of Protoss units. TSMU now with an Arbiter, but will need to pick a large-scale battle anytime soon. Nice stasis, but you just got to flank it hard, and try to do damage and trade. and kill expansions, of course. Crazio's army is now just as large as Tisimu's, and Tisimu, what can it do at this point? The Terran tank push is coming, or it is here already, and Crazio is killing units left, right and center. Tisimu's army is pretty large as well. Tisimu is maxed, and once you are maxed, you've got to do something with your units. You can't let your entire army be pinned down here by 2 tanks, while Crazio is setting up shop with a lot of siege tanks in your natural choke. And as a Terran, it makes more sense to go after the enemy natural choke, because usually all the production is behind it. And so it is for Tisimu. There is a nice brace of goons packed over here, caught. And I think this is just going to be the end. This is the mineral only, or was the mineral only, and Tisimu just doesn't dare to commit and is now suffering because it's no longer maxed. And although Tisimu's got a large force, they only want to harass and never to fight a straight up battle versus all the tanks. And also the Protoss army is too fragmented to make any kind of decent fist. And Crazio is rolling up the main ramp in, well, not in record speed, but it's just so methodical in getting things done. All the tanks are stasis, and still Tisimu's ground army doesn't do anything about it. And I can only hope that Tisimu will find the time to make some updates. Crazio immediately building some turrets in the enemy base. That's just good. And Tisimu keeled over, 0 APM. I think the bot crashed. That's very atypical. Is it producing anything? No, it isn't. Crazio is just making infrastructure, replenishing the couple of units it's losing. And Tisimu seems to have left the game already, just mining from these bases, but nothing else is coming out. So that's special, Tisimu crashing, and okay, I think this is the penultimate game which got recommended, or perhaps all the 3 games I've left are from recommendations. So let's see. We've got Johann Kaiser as the blue Terran, and it's not all that good. It's very good at defending, but perhaps that's why this game got recommended, with Killerbot by Marian Diveka at the other end of the map. And Killerbot going for a quick expansion with a quick second hatchery. Now, there you go, and here comes the lair. Meanwhile, oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. That's a quaint place for the defensive structures of... Oh, and here come the Marines. So, I feared that there would be no Marines at all, but we will have Marines, and Marines are going to sit in the bunkers. Now Killerbot taking this base right over here in the backyard of Johann Kaiser's, and here come the Mutas. We've got a very small cloud of about 5, 6, 7, and let's see what it's going to do. It's going to ignore the defenses, kill this... Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. This will be a ZVT clinic, if not a hospital. Dear, oh dear, oh dear. And I really wonder why this game got recommended, because this is just a brutal beatdown, and Johann Kaiser is not even near the league of Killerbot. Killerbot is just dishing out the damage by the bucket load. Of course, we've got this bunker field, we've got this natural, but with only 1 worker in, is mining gas, and there is even a Zergling over there, so I can't really say why this got recommended. Just speed it up a notch. No, that was the last worker. Here goes the natural command center. More mutas are coming to join the party, and of course they're going to do a lot of damage. They will take a while because their innate DPS is not very high, but once the muta cloud reaches about 23, the damage potential is quite decent, especially if there is no opposition. So yeah, there we go. Now this bunker field is there, and perhaps that's going to be the funny bit. But the mutas, they can deal with that quite handily. And the muta cloud now consists of nearly 30. And that's the GG. So, quite interesting, but good. So, the number 3 versus the cutest modification, Dachin. Dachin is going to play as the red Protoss over here, and it's going to be a very small map. Oh, and that's a nice gas steal. Could have cancelled it, but There you go. Crazio will be delayed a little bit, but is going to place a refinery immediately. Now Darchin is going for some kind of a ranged goon play, but Crazio's got this bunker and some marine, so I don't really think that that's going to bother Crazio too much that there are a couple of ranged goons. They haven't really got the room to maneuver on these bridges, and with a little bit of repair you are in a good position to stop that forever, at least until the first tank arrives. And I think that is going to be the first tank. Ooh, and the goons, they slip by. That's the cutest has run by. That's pretty good. So now a lot of workers are in grave peril, but oh god, the dragoons, they're coming back for the bunker, and that was a big mistake. And now the tank turns up, and I think that Crazio should be pretty safe now. Lost some workers, it's not too bad. It's got 42 still, but with a handful of tanks, and Darchin has been macroing like a monster behind this. Oh, and already a carrier, that's pretty good. So can Crazio off 2 bases stop Darchin's combined carrier and goon thing? If Darchin keeps attacking into the defenses like this, I would say yes. But you never know, and behind this all, Darchin is building yet another base, and that's really insane, because that macro is now absolutely gorgeous. I think the economy of Darchin is twice that of Crazio, and Darchin has already got an army advantage. Although the interceptors can't really do much, Crazio is producing a lot of Goliaths, and has it got the Goliath range? Yes, it has. So these carriers have to really be careful, and Darchin trying to take this base right over here. Of course, 2 tanks are right on top of that, and stop it in its tracks. Now Crazio will probably kill this carrier, and Darchin will be back to his own resources, and the question is, what will it do? There are a lot of Stargates, and also therefore a lot of carriers can be produced at the same time. Meanwhile, Darchin is all over this, and this carrier over here is still alive. It's being very annoying, but it can't really get anything done. There is just too much defense. Crazio's army supply is now 55, and Darchin is turning on the pressure. The turret is getting some damage, but not too much, and interceptors are being killed, goons are being killed, and Darchin's army, although it's a little bit bigger and Darchin has got way more economy, it's just not going to penetrate this Crazio defense anytime soon. A couple of goons are coming around the back, trying to prevent Crazio's taking the mineral only, but nice mine hits settles them both. Crazio is going to have to defend for a little bit longer. Oh, but all these tanks and these Goliaths, that's just that's a meat grinder right there for you. There aren't all that many tanks, but the tanks are in a good position to do a lot of damage at these bridges, and you can see Darchin's army, he just threw away about 50, and if Crazio lost 5 units, that would have been a lot, and most of those would have been vultures. Crazio's main though is slowly mining out, and Crazio will need to take back some map control of Darchin. Darchin with the minefield, that's just, should use a couple of observers. Tanks a little bit exposed, but then again also in a forward position to do a lot of damage. The Goliaths, they try to keep the interceptors down, but these 2 carriers are just too far out of range of most Goliaths, and this one over here is still producing interceptors as well, so that might be a little bit of a problem. Now Darchin, what are you going to do? Build more production, because Darchin is approaching max. Crazio's approaching max too. Crazio's got the bigger army at this point, and needs to occupy a good fighting position beyond its own bridges. And that can be quite difficult with all these carriers flapping about, but 2 carriers are about to die. And Crazio will probably, yeah, there goes the carrier, and now Darchin is in a bit of trouble because it hasn't got the air cover it needs anymore, and these goons and zealots versus these upgraded mech units, it's just going to be a little bit of a slaughter. Now, main for Crazio is out, the one for Darchin as well, but Darchin of course has got a lot more income. Crazio though is playing how to make the most delicious blue soup with Darchin's goons, and the goons either are very masochistic or they don't like it a bit, and that is a lot of blue soup. You can see Darchin's army plummeting precipitously. There are 2 carriers in the main of Crazio, and Darchin is rebuilding a lot of stuff at the same time. Lots of upgrades, no technology at all, that's pretty weird. And Crazio's army is all here. So it hasn't really got an answer to these carriers in terms of map control. And now some anti-air forces are chasing back the carriers over here, and Dachin is just mining from everywhere, and looks like to be trying to take this base over here. Should take this one first though. I don't know why it's not doing so. It hasn't got money at this point. That might be it. And now Crazio has won the middle of the map. And once you've got this 150 supply Terran, or 47 supply Terran army roaming the map, it is very difficult to get it back in its box. And you've got to hope that Crazio will overextend, and you can kill some tanks with carriers, and you can kill Goliaths with gateway units. But Crazio is just absorbing anything Dachin is throwing at it at this moment. Has got a bit of a bank still, and is now taking a mineral only. So with the depleted geyser, some little bit of juice left in the natural and the mineral only, Crazio might just be looking forward to take this push right into Dachin's base. And Dachin has got all the production in its own main, and here come the tanks. So once the tanks have control of these bridges, either Dachin will have to move all the way around, or ferry them with a shuttle, or do something else. That is quite improbable. And Crazio is just slowly inching its way forward, and is still max, so that is beautifully played. And now these bridges are under tight control of Mr. Crazio. And although there is a carrier over here, and Crazio's army is terribly busy trying to capture it, still it doesn't really understand how a carrier works. That's usually it can just build lots of Goliaths and all Sims carriers will die. But now this push is hitting the natural, and Dachin is building not all that much. Where is the income of Dachin? Dachin has to spend a lot of money. Oh, well, Dachin is mined out all over the place, and the work count is in the toilet. Wow. So that went pretty quickly. Crazio coming back from the dead. And I'll show you the ranking once more. We've got SAIDA on top, then Locutus, and then Crazio, and well, that must be... let me refresh it. Yeah, that's pretty much it. So Crazio and Locutus are in the same spot. So that was Crazio vs Dachin, and I'm going to call the GG, probably because this is going to take forever. Although, no, Dachin might still win with the carry, as if Crazio drops the ball a couple of 100 times. But Dachin hasn't got any money, hasn't got any units, and Crazio now is mopping up the bases. And here goes that base. Dachin now really out of money and workers. There is one turret left, but it's going to fall, and these buildings over here are going to fall as well. Probably sometime. Yes, here it comes, and now Crazy will have to find these buildings over here. Okay, that's the GG, and we'll hop into the last game of today, which will be Locutus versus SAIDA. And SAIDA, the #1 Terran, is absolutely a monster. It is so good. It is placed, and I'm going to show you this one last time. It is 70 points up. Crazio and Locutus are down there, and then 100 points Purple Wave and all the rest. Purple Swarm doing well as well. Wow, that's pretty good. But now the #1 versus the #2 of the moment, and Locutus is going to do a proxy 2-gate right in the middle of the map. Let's see if SAIDA is able to hold this. SAIDA going for a bunker, and the Marines... Oh, the Marines just don't bother entering the bunker at all, they're just going. And Locutus is now in a lost position because that is a vulture, and vultures have this nasty way with zealots. They just kill them. And even though you need a little bit of micro to do that, but behind that, Locutus is setting up its next step of nastiness. Going to transition as I would have expected. Nice new bunker by SAIDA, but lots of mining time lost by these SCVs. Then again, Locutus is pretty heavily invested with this proxy 2-gate. So that's going to slow Locutus down as well, but now these vultures are in the main base and they're killing zealots. And if they're done killing zealots, ooh, they take a little bit too much damage there. Going into the corner again, another hit. They are going to kill workers, and they can do that pretty fast. Here is a Dragoon though, and the Dragoon will first kill... Oh, the workers kill. The Dragoon is not going to do anything. Haha, that's pretty cruel. So, bye, ciao, and yeah, have some more workers, Mr. Vulture. And finally, Locutus turns around and nips that in the bud. SAIDA, meanwhile, has taken the opportunity to take another base. Lots of workers at the repair of this bunker, a couple of tanks coming up, and will there be siege mode soon? I suppose there will be. And then SAIDA will have a worker lead, because so many probes died over here. And, ooh, this is going to be a nasty push though. But with siege mode, the bunker and 2 tanks, I think that Locutus should not press the issue here. It's just going to take a lot of losses, and now with a 3rd tank, that's completely impossible, and Locutus should not do that. Should take a natural, perhaps do some harass with a shuttle, or tech up, or just save its army for a later date. SAIDA, meanwhile, is rocking with 40 workers, and is slowly increasing in army supply. And Locutus taking a 3rd base, sort of knowing that SAIDA won't have the army count to move out anytime soon. So that might be the best time to take a 3rd. And a 4th, hello, that's pretty good. So you'll have a 4 versus 3 base situation. And have we got any cool tech? We have got Templar Archives, which got scanned. And now SAIDA is going to push. SAIDA has got nearly 70 supply army, and Locutus is going to lose 2 gateways, and then we'll only have 2 left, nothing at the expansions, and SAIDA is just going to bring the hammer down. Locutus, with this very small rebel force, is going to be hard put to try and do something about that. It's 4 versus 2 base, but this kind of Terran push is just very hard to stop for anyone, let alone a Protoss with a 34 supply army and 2 gateways. Ha! That's pretty unfortunate. And now you're just going to bury yourself in the natural. So the tanks roll up, that's quite a lot of tanks, and it's 100 versus the 30 army supply, and that must surely be the good game. So SAIDA demonstrating why it is a master of what it does. Crazier tried rushing it, and Locutus is also trying to rush it, but SAIDA beats it down, and once a rush defense is in place by SAIDA, it's going to be even harder to stop it. So you are looking at the number 1 bot of the moment, wrecking the number 2 in grand fashion. This is, or this was really, because this was the last game, this was our weekly broadcast. We'll be back again next week. Keep the replays coming. You can find my email address in the top left. For now, I say thank you for watching, have a good weekend, and goodbye.